When trying to find the size of the copper lines for your HVAC line set, sometimes you don't know exactly unless you order the pipe and then you know exactly what size you ordered. But if you have a tool like this is I think they call it a swaging tool, but you can take one of your dies if you get it apart and actually take and just take and insert it into here. And this says 3/4, so that makes a tight fit. Now, actually, what this would be doing, this would create a swage on this end. So to keep you from using another fitting here, it would, if you use the tool, which is in the box, but this tells you this particular die here, if that's the right terminology, is 3/4. Now, in this box, I didn't see a 1/4, so I'm assuming this would be the low pressure side, this would be the high pressure side. So I'm assuming the 1/4, if this is 1/4, it would, unfortunately, it's not in this box and we need it. It scales up from half to all the way here, but this may be 3/4 and 1/4. I'm not certain. If the HVAC gurus know, they can add this to the comments. But so when we know this makes a tight fitting here, we simply look at this die here, which is nothing but basically a protrusion here that goes inside of the pipe. And then when you do it, it expands the pipe. But this tells you that the size of the pipe would be, say, 3/4 of an inch. Now, if there was another one that fit in here, which there needs to be a die to go in here, if this was here, I'm thinking this is a 1/4 inch, but I'm not certain on that. But if I stuck the die in here, it would be smaller on the top. This would be much smaller here. So then this die here would be, if a 1/4 fit in here, we would know this would be 1/4 by 3/4. Now, if we technically use the tool like it's supposed to be used, we would have a fitting like this, and the fitting would look something like this. And one may ask, well, why do I need a fitting that looks something like this? Very simply. Otherwise, you have to put a coupling together. And if you put a coupling together, you have two sweats on both sides, or I'm not sure, brazing. Now, let me rephrase that. You may have to braze it on two sides. This, if you put one side in, the smaller side, once you put it inserted into the swaging side, at this point, then this flared, then you would only have to braze on one side, as opposed to putting a coupling and having to braze here and come back and braze here. So you may have a little less. Now, do keep in mind on these smaller pipes, you have to be careful because the end of them can tend to maybe get a little deformed or splintered. So just be gentle when dealing with this, but you would have to get a 1/4 swaging tool to do this. But this way, when you pull the die out and you insert it in the pipe, and we know this fits the low pressure side, so we assume this pipe here then would be 3/4 inch, and I'm assuming 1/4, but I don't have a 1/4 die. But if we use this is one way to tell if once the pipe is cut on the end like this, that what size the line set is. And different line sets may be different according to the size of the install you're doing, how far you're running, how big, how much tonnage. So that gets into a more complicated issue altogether. But anyway, a quick way to find out what size your line set pipe is if you've already cut it and got it free to where you can insert it in the end. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.